Ellie Carver was halfway down the gravel path when she heard it, a sharp bark, followed by a low whimper. She paused. The sun had just dipped below the trees behind her, and the woods were beginning to swallow the last of the light. Another bark. Closer. She turned, gripping the straps of her backpack. Then she saw it. A German shepherd. Thin, mud-caked, limping. And trailing behind her were two tiny puppies, barely able to keep up, ribs sharp under their patchy fur. The mother's eyes locked onto Ellie's. There was no growl, no snarl, just desperation. Raw, real. "What the?" Ellie whispered. The dog limped forward, tail low, and barked once more. Short, sharp, urgent. Are you hurt?" Ellie took a cautious step forward. The dog didn't flinch. Instead, she turned and took a few paces down the trail. Then stopped, looked back, barked again, pleading. "You want me to follow you?" The dog barked once more. And for some reason, Ellie moved. She glanced back toward the road. No one was around. Grandma would be mad if she was late again, but something in the dog's eyes, it pulled her. They moved fast. The forest thickened, roots tangled underfoot. The puppies struggled, yelping now and then, but the mother, Rex, Ellie would later call her, never slowed down. She kept glancing back, checking that Ellie was still behind them. "Where are we going, girl?" Ellie murmured. Her heart thudded in her chest. The forest had gone quiet. No wind, no birds. After about 10 minutes, Rex stopped. They were at a clearing. Small, hidden behind layers of underbrush. In the center stood an old shed, half collapsed. Paint peeled from the wooden walls. Rust ate away at the hinges. The door hung open, barely clinging to the frame. The stench hit her first. Metallic. Foul. Rex growled low. She stepped toward the doorway but didn't enter. Instead, she looked at Ellie and whimpered, then nudged one of the puppies toward her. "What is this?" Ellie whispered. She stepped closer. Inside was darkness, a few broken crates, a rotted tarp, and something more. A shoe. White, smudged with dirt and blood. Tucked behind a plank. Ellie's breath caught. She moved closer, knelt, reached under. She pulled out the shoe and froze. Blood. Dried, but definitely blood. On the toe. On the laces. And inside the shoe, a scrap of paper folded tight. She opened it. "Help! Julia Tanner's. He locked me here." Ellie's hands began to shake. Rex barked again, louder this time, and pressed her body against Ellie's side, not protectively, almost pleading. Ellie stuffed the note in her pocket. "We need help," she said aloud. Her voice was too small. She pulled out her phone. No signal. Of course. She turned to Rex. "You brought me here, didn't you?" Rex licked one of the puppies, then stared back at Ellie. "Someone was here," she whispered. "Someone." That's when she heard it. A crunch. Behind her. Ellie whirled around. Nothing. Then movement. Just beyond the clearing. She grabbed a branch from the ground, held it like a bat. "Who's there?" she called out. Nothing. Rex growled. Her hackles rose. She moved in front of Ellie now, shielding her. Another movement, this time faster. A shadow darting behind the trees. Ellie's breath caught in her throat. "Okay," she whispered. "Time to go." She turned to run, but one of the puppies let out a high-pitched yelp and collapsed. "No, no, no." Ellie scooped the pup into her arms. It was barely breathing, eyes half shut. Rex let out a low whine and nudged the pup. Ellie blinked back tears. "You were trying to save them, weren't you?" She looked down at the mother dog. Broken, bleeding, still trying. The other puppy curled up against Rex's leg, shivering. Ellie swallowed hard. "All right. I'm taking you all out of here." She cradled the limp puppy. Rex led the way again, this time slower, limps heavier. By the time they reached the roadside, Ellie was gasping. A car sped past without stopping. She waved frantically. "Help! Somebody, please!" Nothing. Another car approached. A pickup. She stepped into the lane. The truck screeched to a stop, horn blaring. "What the hell, kid?" The driver, a woman in her 50s, stepped out. Her badge caught the last light. "Sheriff Marla Boone," she barked. "Are you out of your mind? There's a woman. I think she's hurt. Or worse. And this dog. She brought me. Look." Ellie held up the shoe. "There's blood. A note. Please." Marla hesitated. Her eyes flicked from the dog to the shoe. Then the note. Her face changed. She picked up her radio. "Dispatch, this is Boone. I need backup out at Old Creek Trail. Possible lead on cold case. Bring animal control too. Injured dogs." Ellie nearly collapsed from relief. Rex licked her hand. "You did it," Ellie whispered. That's when the radio crackled back. "Copy that, Sheriff. Sending units now. Wait, did you say Tanner's?" Boone looked at Ellie. "Yes?" she said. "Julia Tanner's." The line went quiet for a beat. Then a voice. Shaken. "That name's been cold for 2 years." Rex let out a single bark. Ellie looked at her. "You didn't forget, did you?" The puppy in her arms gave a tiny twitch, and for the first time, Rex wagged her tail. Once. Tired, but hopeful. The station lights buzzed low when the sheriff's SUV pulled into the lot. Ellie sat on the back bumper, holding the weak puppy wrapped in her sweatshirt. Rex lay beside her, nose pressed to the pup's side, ears twitching at every sound. Sheriff Boone stepped out, face drawn. "You did good, kid. Real good. But you need to tell me everything. From the top." Ellie nodded, voice trembling. "I was walking home, near the back trail behind Haywood Creek. That's when I saw her. Rex. She was limping. The puppies followed her, barely walking. Then she barked at me, like she wanted me to follow." Boone scribbled something. "And she led you to the shed?" "Yes. It was hidden. She stopped outside, wouldn't go in." Boone looked at the bloodied shoe resting on her dashboard. "This shoe belongs to Julia Tanner's. That's confirmed. She disappeared 2 years ago after clocking out from her shift at the diner." Ellie blinked. "You think she was kept in there?" "Too early to say. But if Rex found it now, it means someone returned recently, or never left." The sound of approaching sirens cut through the silence. A cruiser pulled in, then another. Animal control right behind them. A tall, lean man stepped out with a crate and knee pads. "Dr. Lane, county vet." He knelt near Rex. "She's hurt bad, front paws torn, might be infected. And those pups, one's in critical shape." Ellie clutched the bundle tighter. "You're not taking them, are you?" Dr. Lane softened. "Only to treat them. They'll stay together. I promise." Boone looked at Rex. "Dog like this. She's not just acting on instinct. She remembers something. Saw something." "She led me," Ellie whispered. "She knew exactly where to go." The vet gently lifted the injured puppy. Rex growled once, low and guttural. Lane paused. "It's all right, girl. I've got him. You're not losing anyone else tonight." Rex hesitated, then let him take the pup. Ellie followed the group into the station's holding room, still clutching the second puppy. Boone laid the bloodied shoe on a clean sheet of paper. Photos snapped, evidence bag sealed. Deputy Harris leaned in. "You're not going to believe this. That shoe matches the tread from a report we had last year, trespassing at the old sawmill. Same woman. Witness said she was being dragged." Boone stiffened. "Why didn't that get flagged?" Harris frowned. "Because the complaint was buried under non-urgent files. Rookie handling. It was never followed up." Boone cursed under her breath. "We missed it. We missed her." Rex let out a low whine. "Not anymore," Ellie said, her voice stronger now. "She came back. She wants us to find the rest." Boone looked over. "What do you mean, the rest?" "There's something else," Ellie said. "While we were walking, she stopped twice, sniffed the air, ears up, like she was tracking." Boone raised an eyebrow. "Tracking what?" "I don't know, but I think she remembers more." The vet returned. "Pups stable for now, but I need to take them in." Ellie nodded slowly. Can I ride with them?" Boone stepped in. "I'll take you. I want to see this trail myself, right after we secure the scene." Outside, the forest loomed darker now. Deputies surrounded the old shed, flashlights bouncing through the trees. Rex stood at the edge of the lot, eyes locked on the woods. Then she barked. Once. Loud. She wanted to go back. Boone exchanged a glance with Harris. "You really think she's trying to lead us again?" Ellie stepped beside Rex. "I think she knows someone's still out there." Rex took off. Not running this time. Stalking. Low to the ground. Ears back. Focused. "Go," Boone ordered. "Stay close." They followed. Flashlights barely cut the dark. Rex moved fast, weaving between trees like a ghost. Her paw bled again, but she didn't stop. Ellie stumbled on a root. Boone caught her. "Careful." Ahead, Rex slowed, then froze. A shape moved behind a fallen log. Boone raised her hand. "Stop. Quiet." They crouched. The flashlight beam caught the edge of a tarp. Something moved under it. A person. Boone drew her weapon. "This is Sheriff Boone. Step out slowly." Silence. Then a figure rose, thin, shaking, hands up. Young. Late teens. "It's okay," he called. "Don't shoot." Boone lowered her gun slightly. "Name?" "Connor. Connor Laird." Boone frowned. "You're not from around here." Connor stepped into the light. Face dirty, scratched. "I've been hiding. I saw the guy who took her, Julia. He was back." Boone stepped forward. "What do you mean, back?" "I sleep out here sometimes. No family. I saw him, dragging something into that shed 2 nights ago." "Did you report it?" "I tried. Used the payphone at the gas station. No one listened." Rex stepped toward Connor. She sniffed once, then relaxed. "She knows I'm telling the truth," he said, breathless. "She saw him too. She followed him." Boone's voice dropped. "What did he look like?" Connor swallowed. "Big guy. Grey hoodie. Limp. Carries a metal cane." Boone stiffened. "No, it can't be." Ellie looked up. "Who is it?" "Matthew Claiborne," Boone muttered. "Convicted in oath. Released on probation. Used to live a mile from the old sawmill." Connor nodded. "That's him, I swear." Rex growled again. Deep. Low. Boone turned to her deputies. "Get back up. Search this entire grid. Now." Then to Ellie. "You've got to get back. It's not safe." Ellie hesitated. "What about Rex?" Boone looked down at the dog. "She's not going anywhere. She's hunting." Rex stared into the trees. Her body was trembling, not from fear, from memory. The hunt wasn't over, not yet. The woods were different now, colder, still. Even the birds were quiet. Rex moved ahead of them like a shadow, low and tense. Ellie stayed just behind Boone, her fists clenched, heart racing. Connor led them toward a ravine. His hands shook as he pointed. He dragged something here. I saw the tarp. It was heavy. Too heavy. Boone signaled for the others to fan out. Stay alert. We don't know if he's gone far. Rex sniffed the ground, then bolted left. She didn't bark. Didn't wait. Boone followed. She's found something. They pushed through dense brush until Rex stopped cold. A shallow depression in the earth. Disturbed leaves. A piece of fabric sticking out. Ellie stepped forward. Is that? Boone pulled a glove from her pocket and knelt. She gently lifted the fabric. Beneath it, dirt-streaked jeans. A belt. A hand. Pale. Still. Oh God, Ellie whispered. Boone pulled out her radio. We've got a body. Female. Approximate age 20s. Send forensics. Rex sat down beside the grave. Not whining. Not barking. Just still. She led us again, Boone muttered. Ellie stared at Rex. How does she know? Before anyone could speak, a rustle came from deeper in the trees. Fast, crunching twigs. Boone raised her weapon. Freeze! No answer. Connor, down! Rex growled, lunged toward the noise, then halted, tail stiff, ears pinned. The figure emerged, hands raised. It was Deputy Nolan. Whoa, don't shoot! It's me! Boone exhaled. Damn it, Nolan. You almost got yourself dropped. Nolan jogged up, breathless. I found something. You're not going to like it. They followed him a quarter-mile down. He stopped at the edge of a clearing. There, propped against a tree, was a rusted dog crate. Bent. Blood smeared along one corner. Inside, bones. Small. Scattered. Boone's face hardened. This was used before. Ellie covered her mouth. There's more, Nolan said. Look. Behind the crate, buried in brush, a burned-out tent. Torn canvas, food wrappers, empty pill bottles. Someone's been living here. Boone knelt, picked up a torn notebook. Flipped through pages, mostly blank, except for one. She remembers. She always comes back. Boone handed it to Ellie. This isn't just about revenge. Someone trained her. Someone knew she would come back. Connor spoke up. He called her by name. Rex. Said she failed him once. Boone turned. What do you mean, failed? He said she ran when it mattered. That she forgot her job. Rex let out a low growl. Her eyes locked on Connor. Not hostile. Hurt. Boone crouched beside her. You didn't fail. You did what he never could. You came back. Suddenly a voice echoed through the trees, low, mocking. You found my notes, Sheriff. Boone stood. Show yourself. A man stepped from behind a tree. Grey hoodie, limping, holding a walking cane. Matthew Claiborne. Boone raised her weapon. Hands where I can see them. He smiled. Calm, too calm. Why, so your hero dog can take the credit again? Rex stepped forward, growling. I should have buried her with the first one, Claiborne spat. Boone's jaw tightened. You hurt those women. She hurt them. He snapped. She left. I trained her to guard, to fight, but she ran when they screamed. Ellie shouted. Because you were the monster! Rex lunged. Boone shouted, Hold! But Rex didn't bite. She stopped inches from Claiborne, stared up at him, then turned her head, and barked once. Behind them, more deputies emerged, guns raised. Boone stepped forward. It's over. You're done. Claiborne dropped the cane, raised his hands. She always comes back, he whispered. Boone cuffed him. Yeah, and this time she brought backup. Rex walked back to Ellie, blood still on her paw, but her tail wagged once. It wasn't just instinct. It was memory. It was justice. The sheriff's office was buzzing, phones ringing, voices overlapping. Claiborne's arrest had made headlines by noon. Reporters swarmed the parking lot. Boone slammed the door to the interrogation room shut. Claiborne didn't flinch. He sat calmly, hands cuffed, staring at the mirror like he could see through it. Rex waited outside, her body curled tight but alert. Ellie paced the hallway. Tell me again why he gave up so easily, she asked Boone. Boone shrugged. Because he wanted to. That's what scares me. Inside, Deputy Nolan pressed record. Boone sat across from Claiborne. Start talking. Claiborne smiled. She was the only thing that made sense in my life. I trained her myself. Protection. Search and rescue. She was supposed to be mine forever. You used her to trap women, Boone snapped. She was supposed to protect them, but she left. Ran like a coward. Boone leaned in. She didn't run. She escaped. Same thing, Claiborne sneered. She remembered. That's what matters now. Boone stood. You're sick. Claiborne tilted his head. You think I'm the only one? Boone froze. What does that mean? He smirked. You'll see. It's not over. Back in the hallway, Rex lifted her head, low growl. Boone opened the door. Get her out of here. But Rex didn't move. She sniffed the air, turned, bolted. Ellie shouted, Rex, wait! Boone followed, grabbing his radio. We've got movement! Rex led them outside, through the alley, behind the station, straight to a parked van. She snarled, pawing at the back. Boone yanked the doors open. Inside, 2 puppies. Dirty, shaking, tied together by a rope knotted at their necks. Oh my God, Ellie whispered. She stepped in, untied them carefully. One whimpered, the other pressed into her lap. Boone turned to Rex. Are these yours? Rex barked once, then sat beside the van, watching the building. Boone radioed in. We need a vet, now. Ellie's voice cracked. She brought them here. She remembered where they were. No, Boone said slowly. She knew they were being brought here. Ellie looked up. What are you saying? Boone scanned the parking lot. Claiborne never gave her up. He was leading her to this. Why? Ellie asked. To finish what he started. Inside the station, alarms blared. Claiborne had disappeared. The interrogation room was empty. A single word was scratched into the table. Trade! Boone ran back inside. Lock it down! Now! Rex darted ahead, barking furiously. She charged down the east hallway toward the holding cells. One door stood open. The rookie deputy on duty lay unconscious, blood trickling from his temple. Boone checked his pulse. Alive. Then he looked up at the security monitor. Footage played on loop. Claiborne had help. A man in a maintenance uniform. face hidden. Badge copied. Ellie appeared at the end of the hall, the puppies in her arms. Boone snapped, "Get them out, now!" Rex ran past her, nose to the floor. Tracking. Boone followed her outside, heart pounding. "Where is he, girl? Find him!" Rex didn't wait. She turned left. Toward the woods again. Ellie handed the puppies to Nolan. "Keep them safe." And without hesitating, she followed Rex and Boone into the trees. Boone called out as they ran. "Why would he leave the puppies?" Ellie replied, breathless. "He didn't. He used them." Boone nodded grimly. "He's trying to lure her back." They ran for 20 minutes. No sound but their breathing, the crunch of leaves, Rex's steady steps ahead. Finally, Rex stopped. A cabin. Old, falling apart. Boone swore. "He's using the same damn place." Rex barked once, then bolted through the door. Inside, darkness. Silence. Boone raised his weapon. Ellie stayed behind him. Then a click. A flashlight flicked on. Claiborne stood at the back of the room. No weapon. Just a collar in his hand. Rex's old collar. "I kept it," he said softly. "She was mine." Boone growled, "Put it down!" Claiborne didn't move. "She's back. You see? She chose me." Ellie whispered, "She didn't choose you. She's here to end this." Rex growled. Then lunged. She didn't bite. She knocked the collar from his hand, sent it skidding across the floor. Claiborne dropped to his knees, laughing. "She remembers." Boone cuffed him. Rex turned, walked straight to Ellie, pressed her head into her chest. Ellie held her close. The puppies were safe. And the past? Finally buried. Rex paced the edge of the fire station yard. Not restless, watchful, always watching. Inside, Ellie sat beside Boone, her hands wrapped around a coffee mug she hadn't touched. The puppies slept under a blanket near the heater, tiny bodies rising and falling in rhythm. "They're okay," Boone said softly. Ellie nodded. "Yeah, but Claiborne's out. We caught him, and somehow that still feels like just the beginning." Boone leaned back. "It is." Silence. Then Ellie looked up. "Why did he leave Rex behind in the first place?" Boone didn't answer. Not right away. Then, maybe she wasn't supposed to survive. Ellie's jaw clenched. But she did, and she came back stronger. Outside, Rex's ears perked. A car door slammed across the street. Boone was already moving. Through the window he saw two men unloading something from the trunk of a dark sedan. Not neighbors, not friendly. Ellie peeked out. "That's not good," Rex growled. One of the men looked up, locked eyes with Rex, and ran. "Go!" Boone shouted, drawing his weapon. Rex launched like a bullet. Across the street, fast, focused. The second man dropped the duffel bag and bolted down the alley. Ellie grabbed a radio. "Officer down! Suspects fleeing eastbound behind Maple!" Boone chased the first man into the junkyard behind the station. Rex had already cut him off. The man skidded to a stop, hands raised. "I'm not armed!" Rex didn't care. She circled him, kept him pinned until Boone arrived. "On the ground, now!" The man dropped. Boone cuffed him. "Who sent you?" He spat on the ground. "You think it's over? He's just getting started." Boone grabbed the duffel, opened it. A stack of documents. Maps. Blueprints. A photo of Ellie. Boone froze. She was holding the puppies. It had been taken this morning. Ellie arrived seconds later, out of breath. Her eyes widened as she saw the photo. "How?" Boone didn't respond. He just showed her the second item from the bag. A phone. Still unlocked. A message sat open on the screen. Package delivered. Target, girl and dogs, 48 hours. Ellie's throat tightened. He's got people. Boone stood. We need to move them. Ellie looked at the puppies. Not just them. Me too. Boone nodded. Safe house. Now. That night, they relocated to a remote ranger cabin on the edge of Red Hollow Preserve. No cell service, no roads in or out except the dirt path behind the trees. The puppies curled up beside Rex, who lay between them like a wall of muscle and memory. Boone walked the perimeter. Ellie stood on the porch, arms crossed. Do you think they'll come tonight? Boone didn't answer, but Rex lifted her head, growled once, then silence. The woods went still. Boone drew his weapon. Ellie whispered, They're already here. A single snap echoed from the forest, then another. Boone swept his flashlight through the trees. Movement. 3 figures, all dark clothing. Silent steps. They're flanking us, Boone muttered. Back inside. Ellie grabbed the puppies. Rex was already at the door, tail low, hackles up. Boone locked the door, checked the windows. Barricade that back door. Done. Suddenly, the power died. Total black. Ellie froze. They cut the line, Rex barked, short and sharp. Boone dropped to one knee, gun raised. Then a thud against the back wall. Smoke grenade, Boone warned. Get low. The cabin filled with grey. Flashlight beams pierced through broken windows. One figure climbed in through the rear. Rex didn't wait. She launched through the haze. The man screamed. Boone fired once. The other figures retreated. Silence again. Rex limped back, blood on her flank, but her eyes were clear. She stood between Ellie and the door. Boone approached the downed attacker. Alive. Barely. He whispered, We weren't after the girl. Boone frowned. Then who? The man coughed blood. The dog. Boone's blood ran cold. They want Rex. Ellie's voice cracked. Why? Because she remembers, the man whispered, and Claiborne knows it. Then he passed out. Boone turned to Rex. She sat there, proud, battered but unshaken. You're not just part of the story, he said softly. You are the story. The ranger cabin was quiet. Too quiet. Boone stared at the attacker, still unconscious, tied to a chair in the center of the room. His breathing was shallow, bruised, beaten, alive. Rex paced in front of the window, one eye on the woods, one ear tilted toward the door, always alert, always listening. Ellie sat beside the fireplace, her arms wrapped tightly around the puppies. They squirmed, but she didn't loosen her grip. They were here for her, Boone said again, like he still didn't believe it. Not you, not the puppies. Rex. Ellie blinked hard. Why would anyone want to hurt a dog? Boone didn't answer. He opened the duffel bag they'd taken off the men the night before. Inside, a flash drive. He slid it into his laptop. What loaded wasn't just data. It was surveillance. Photos. Dozens. All time-stamped over the last year. Rex. Every shot captured her near the burned cabin in the outskirts, near the creek, near the fire station. Some even from weeks ago. Outside Ellie's school. One showed her feeding Rex. Another had Boone in the background. Jesus, he muttered. They've been watching her for months. Ellie leaned over. Why? Boone clicked to the next folder. This one was labeled Retrieve Asset, Code Rex 13A. His breath caught. What the hell is this? He clicked open a video. It was grainy. Surveillance cam. A dark room. 2 men. A cage. Inside it, a German shepherd. Tied, muzzle bloody. Rex. Except younger. Healthier. Stronger. She fought the leash. Tried to bark. They hit her with a stun stick. Ellie gasped. "Turn it off." Boone didn't move. The voice on the video spoke again. "She won't forget. That's what makes her dangerous." The screen went black. Rex sat beside the laptop now, eyes fixed on it. Ellie whispered, "She remembers them." Boone nodded slowly. "That's why she ran. That's why she came back. She wasn't lost. She was hiding." They didn't sleep that night. Boone sat near the window, weapon loaded, eyes scanning the tree line. Ellie tried to rest, curled up on a sleeping bag, the puppies beside her. Rex didn't lie down once. By morning, the attacker was gone. No broken locks, no noise, just gone. A note pinned to the cabin door with a hunting knife. "You're running out of time." Boone tore it down, tossed it into the fire. "They're sending a message." "No," Ellie said. "They're making a move." Rex growled, a low, rolling sound that made the air feel tighter. Boone stood fast. "Get the puppies. We're leaving, now." But as he grabbed the radio to call for extraction, all he got was static. Deadline. No signal. Rex ran to the door, pawed it once, then turned, barking sharply. Boone followed her outside. Smoke. Not from their chimney. Thick grey smoke rising behind the trees to the east. The direction of the town. Ellie stepped out. "Something's burning." Boone's eyes narrowed. "That's no accident." Sirens. Distant, faint. Then a deep, bone-rattling boom. Ellie's hands flew to her ears. "What was that?" Boone was already backing toward the jeep. "Town's under attack. Distraction. They're trying to isolate us." He turned to Ellie. "They're coming now." They loaded the puppies into a crate. Rex jumped into the front without hesitation. As they tore down the dirt road, Boone's voice was a steady drumbeat. "We get to the fallback site. Signal the ranger station. Hold there until help arrives." Ellie just nodded, eyes wide, silent. But as they reached the split in the road, Rex barked twice. "Urgent!" Boone slowed. Rex leapt out. She sniffed the air. Took off into the woods. Boone cursed. "She's not running. She's tracking." Ellie jumped out. "I'm going with her." "No, Ellie. It could be a trap." "She knows something." Boone stared at her for a beat, then at the puppies. He looked torn. Then, 5 minutes. If we're not back, drive to the outpost. No looking back." She nodded. "Got it." Boone took his rifle and followed her into the trees. Rex led them fast. Too fast for a wounded dog, like something was pulling her. They reached a clearing, a hidden cabin. Small, rotting, the roof half-caved. "Another one?" Ellie whispered. Boone stepped forward, checked the door. Locked. Rex whined, then circled to the back. A window. Broken. She leapt through without hesitation. Boone cursed again. "She's insane." They followed her. Inside. Dark. Dusty, but not empty. Papers, maps, photographs. One wall was covered with them. Pins. Strings. Like something out of a detective movie. Boone scanned the names. Places. Years. All tied to one thing. Rex. Dozens of aliases, all with a string of disappearances, violent outbursts, missing handlers. She was military, he muttered. Or something like it. Ellie whispered. She was hunted. Suddenly, a thump. From the attic. Boone raised his weapon. Rex was already there, barking like a warning bell. Boone climbed the narrow steps. At the top, a girl, maybe 10 years old, chained to a beam, eyes wide, mouth gagged. Boone rushed forward. "You're safe. We've got you." Rex stood beside the girl, tail still, body trembling. Not from fear, from recognition. Boone looked closer. The girl wore a bracelet. Faded. It read, "Maddie." And stitched into the cloth? Rex's old tag. Ellie's voice cracked from below. "What is it?" Boone answered softly. She came back for her. Boone stood frozen in the attic, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The girl's eyes were glassy, terrified. Her tiny wrists bruised from the chains. She was barely breathing. "Maddie," Boone whispered again. Rex didn't move from her side. She sat, tail still, head low, watching the child like a mother watches her young. Protective. Still. Ellie scrambled up the stairs behind him. Her breath caught. "Oh my God, is she—" "She's alive," Boone said, already reaching for the bolt cutters on his belt. "Barely." He clipped the chains fast, gently scooped the girl up. She flinched, but didn't cry. Rex let out a soft, guttural whine, a sound so heavy with emotion it made Ellie's knees buckle. "She knew her," Ellie whispered. "Before all of this." Boone moved quickly, carrying the girl down the stairs. "We're out of time. Whoever held her here might be on their way back." They reached the jeep. Boone laid Maddie in the back seat, wrapping her in a blanket. Ellie sat beside her, hand on her chest, making sure she was still breathing. "She's in shock," Ellie said. "She needs a hospital." Rex jumped in beside Maddie, resting her chin on the girl's leg like she'd done it 100 times before. Boone floored the gas. They tore through the forest roads. "I don't get it," Ellie said, voice cracking. "Why her? Why keep her hidden? Why chain a little girl in the woods?" Boone shook his head. "It's bigger than we thought. This isn't about revenge." "Then where's—" He gritted his teeth. "This is a cover-up." 20 minutes later, the ranger outpost came into view. Or what was left of it. The gate was smashed. Windows blown out. The entire building was in ruins. Boone slammed the brakes. "Stay here," he ordered. Ellie refused. "Like hell." They moved together. Rex ahead, low and quiet. Bodies. 2 rangers, dead. Boone knelt, checked for Ide. Collins, Weaver. They didn't stand a chance. The room was a mess. Files everywhere, radios destroyed, computers ripped open. And in the center of the chaos, a name written on the wall in blood. R.E.X., Ellie gasped. They were looking for her. Boone picked up a half-burned folder. Top page. Rex 13A. Behavioral Study. Trauma-Based Memory Encoding. "What is that?" Ellie asked. Boone flipped through. His eyes hardened. She was part of an experimental K9 program. Not just tracking. Memory recognition. Emotion detection. Like a walking lie detector. They weaponized her? He nodded. But something went wrong. The report ends in redacted pages, just disappears. Ellie stared at Rex. She wasn't meant to survive. A thud. Boone spun. Rex growled low. She was staring through the broken door. Someone was coming. Ellie ran back to the jeep. Maddie was still breathing, shallow but steady. Boone joined her seconds later, rifle raised. But Rex didn't bark. She just waited. And then, a man appeared. Alone. Unarmed, middle-aged, weathered, in a faded green jacket. Boone raised the rifle. "Hands where I can see them," The man stopped. I'm not here to hurt you. Funny. That's what the last guy said. I know who you are, the man said calmly. And I know who she is. His eyes met Rex's. She remembers me. Rex didn't growl, didn't move. She just stared. Ellie stepped forward. Who are you? My name's Nolan Bishop. I was the lead trainer on Project Echo. Boone kept the rifle raised. Why should we believe you? Because I was the one who helped her escape. Silence. Nolan looked broken. She wasn't supposed to be a weapon. She was a rescue, a survivor. But someone up the chain saw potential. They pushed her too far. She broke. She didn't break, Ellie snapped. She fought. Boone lowered the rifle an inch. What happened to Maddie? She was part of the insurance, Nolan said. Collateral. To control Rex. They thought if she ever resurfaced, they'd use the girl to bring her in quietly. That's sick, Ellie whispered. Boone's eyes narrowed. Why are you telling us this now? Because they're done playing games. They want Rex silenced, and they'll kill all of you to do it. Rex stood slowly, placing herself between Maddie and Nolan. She still doesn't trust me, Nolan said. Smart dog, Boone muttered. They're coming, Nolan continued. A full team. Trained. Armed. You won't survive out here. So what do we do? Ellie asked. There's one place they won't risk attacking, Nolan said. Public. High visibility. Boone caught on. The county hospital. Nolan nodded. Get her there. Get the story out. Force their hand. Boone turned to Rex. You hear that, girl? We're going loud. The ride to the hospital was silent. Rex never took her eyes off Maddie. Ellie held the girl's hand, whispering softly. At the ER entrance, Boone parked in the loading zone. He jumped out, carrying Maddie. Inside, chaos erupted. Nurses, doctors, questions. A woman in a white coat gasped. We've been looking for this girl for months. Rex followed them in, ignoring all protests. Ellie held up a phone, recording everything. She's the one who found her. The dog. Her name is Rex. And there's more. A lot more. Boone turned to Nolan. We just started a war, didn't we? Nolan gave a bitter smile. No, you just forced them into the light. And as sirens screamed behind them and cameras clicked, Rex stood in the middle of the ER, tail steady, eyes alert. She wasn't just a survivor anymore. She was a witness, and she wasn't done. The hospital swarmed with whispers. Reporters hovered at the glass doors. Security pushed them back. Inside, nurses moved fast, but eyes darted to the German shepherd pacing near the ER hallway. Rex stayed low, close to Maddie's room. Her ears perked at every sound, tail still. Ellie leaned against the wall, arms crossed, watching her. She hasn't moved in an hour, she said softly. Boone sat nearby, bloodied from the earlier chase, shirt stained with mud. She doesn't trust anyone else to protect the girl, he replied. Rex's eyes flicked to them, then back to the door. Did she eat anything? Ellie asked. No. She'll starve before she walks away from that door. Boone didn't argue. Inside, Maddie lay under observation. IV in her arm. Heart monitor steady. The trauma team had confirmed what they suspected: dehydration, bruising, early signs of pneumonia, but the worst damage wasn't physical. Maddie hadn't spoken since they arrived, just stared at Rex through the window. Until now. The girl's voice was small. She came back. The nurse blinked. What did you say, sweetie? Maddie's lip trembled. Her voice grew stronger. Rex, she came back for me. The words were like lightning down the hallway. Boone stood. Ellie rushed to the door. The doctor nodded, eyes wide. She's awake. Talking. Rex let out a deep breath. Almost a sigh. Ellie knelt beside her. She's safe. You did it. Rex didn't respond. She just laid down, head between her paws, eyes never leaving the girl. Then the lights flickered. Boone turned sharply. Did you see that? The security system chimed twice. The receptionist frowned. That's not supposed to happen. Nolan entered the hallway, moving fast. We've got a problem. Boone met him halfway. They're coming? They're already inside. What? Nolan handed him a phone. Live CCTV feed. A man in a maintenance uniform walked through the lower stairwell. Another one entered through the ambulance bay. Boone's jaw clenched. How many? 3. Maybe 4. They're not here to talk. Ellie looked at Rex. She knows. Look at her. Rex stood up, stiff, alert. Boone grabbed his radio. Lock down the pediatric wing now. Sirens flashed inside the hospital. An automated voice repeated, Code Grey. Security incident. Ellie grabbed a fire axe from the wall. Boone handed her a small radio. Stay with Maddie, no matter what. What about you? I'll find them. Rex. But Rex was already moving. She sprinted toward the elevators, nose in the air. Boone followed. Nolan behind him, gun drawn. Ellie turned back to the room. Locked the door. Pulled Maddie closer. Outside, chaos erupted. One of the intruders moved fast. Pushed a nurse. Headed straight for the elevator. Boone caught sight of him as the doors closed. I'm taking the stairs, he said. Nolan nodded. I'll loop down to the other end. Cut them off. Boone ran. 2 flights up, bursting into the hallway. Then everything happened at once. Rex lunged from a side corridor. The man turned, too late. Her jaws clamped on his wrist. He screamed, dropped his weapon. Boone tackled him hard. Sirens blared. Lights flashed. 2 more men stormed from the other end. Rex turned, growling, low and savage. Boone raised his weapon, but one of the men raised his hands. Wait, he shouted. Don't shoot. I'm not one of them. Boone froze. What? I'm FBI. Agent Paul Renner. We've been watching this group for 6 months. Boone didn't lower the gun. The other man beside Renner nodded. He's telling the truth. Check the badge. Boone glanced at Nolan, who stepped forward, gun still raised. You waited until now to show up? Nolan growled. We had no choice, Renner replied. If we stepped in too early, the whole thing would disappear. We needed the girl found. And Rex? Boone asked. Renner's voice changed. She was the key. We knew she'd resurface eventually. You used her. Nolan snapped. Renner didn't deny it. We couldn't predict her loyalty, but she did what no human could. Boone looked at Rex. Her ears were still pinned, fur bristling. She doesn't like you, he said flatly. I don't blame her. Back in Maddie's room, Ellie peeked out the window. A nurse approached, trembling. They're saying someone tried to breach the 2nd floor. Is the girl okay? She's fine, Ellie said. But no one else gets in here, not without Boone. Down the hall, the captured attacker groaned on the floor. Boone stood over him. Who sent you? The man smirked. Too late. Renner stepped forward, glancing at Rex. You want to bite him again? Boone didn't smile. Rex doesn't bite for fun. She bites for justice. The man's eyes faltered. Then he coughed. Blood. He'd taken something. Cyanide. Nolan whispered. He's done. The hospital staff arrived seconds too late. The man was gone. Boone turned to Renner. Now what? Renner hesitated. Now you let us take over. We secure the girl, and Rex goes into protective custody. Boone shook his head. No way. She's not a pet, Renner said. She's classified. She's family, Ellie said sharply, stepping into the room. Maddie stood behind her, still weak, but holding herself tall. I want to stay with her, Maddie said. With Rex. Everyone went silent. Renner looked at Boone, then at Rex. Fine, he said at last. But you better be ready for what comes next. This isn't over. Boone nodded. It never is. As they left the room, Rex nudged Maddie's hand. The girl dropped to her knees and hugged her neck tight. I knew you'd come, she whispered. And Rex, quiet as ever, just pressed her head against the girl's shoulder and stayed. The safe house was quiet. Too quiet. Maddie curled up on the couch with a blanket around her shoulders. She kept one hand resting on Rex's back. The dog hadn't left her side since the hospital. Boone checked the locks. Again. Then again. Nolan paced by the window, watching the tree line. They said it's over, Ellie muttered, arms crossed. Boone didn't answer. They said we're safe. Still nothing. Then Maddie spoke, barely above a whisper. She doesn't believe it either. They all looked at her. Rex, the girl clarified, nodding toward the shepherd. She's waiting. For what? Ellie asked. Maddie didn't blink. For him to come. Silence. Then Nolan's phone buzzed. One new text. No number. Just a message. You have something that belongs to me. Attached was a photo. Maddie. Hospital gown. Taken through the window. Yesterday. Boone snatched the phone. Stared. He's been watching us. Nolan's jaw tightened. They didn't shut the network down. They just went underground. Boone turned to Rex. Her ears perked. Her nose lifted. Then she stood. Walked to the door. Nolan grabbed his vest. She's got something. Boone followed. Let's move. Ellie grabbed Maddie's hand. You're not going anywhere. I wasn't planning to, the girl said quietly. Just come back. The woods behind the safe house stretched dark and endless. Rex moved fast, faster than they'd seen her in days. She's not just tracking, Boone said. She knows where he is. They passed the first creek, crossed a narrow trail. Then Rex slowed, nose to the ground, tail stiff. Boone raised a hand. Stop! From the thicket ahead came a sharp snap, then a voice. Don't move! Spotlight burst into life. 3 beams, 3 figures, armed. One stepped forward. Tall, thin, pale grey hoodie. Boone's eyes narrowed. Cameron Hart, the man smiled. Took you long enough. Rex growled. You're smarter than the rest, Hart said. Too bad you let that thing lead you. Boone stepped forward. You kidnapped a child. I gave her purpose. Nolan aimed his weapon. That's not how purpose works. Hart ignored him. You think I don't know what she is? That dog? She's more dangerous than you realize. She remembers everything. He took a step closer. Rex bared her teeth. You used her once, Boone said. You tried to break her. She came back. Hart tilted his head. Did she tell you about the cabin? About the bodies? She didn't need to, Nolan said. We found what you buried. Hart's face changed. Then he lifted something from his belt. A small black box. Rex growled louder. What is that? Boone asked. A call, Hart whispered. She knows it. He pressed it. And somewhere deep in the woods, a sharp, high-pitched whistle rang out. Rex froze, then bolted. Rex! Boone shouted. She didn't stop. She disappeared into the trees. Boone ran after her. Nolan close behind. Was that a command tone? Nolan asked. Worse, Boone said. It's a recall. From her training. He must have stolen it. She's trained to obey. She'll fight it. They reached the clearing. Empty. Then movement. A figure dragged something behind a log. Boone raised his weapon. Freeze! Rex stood beside a man. Not Hart. Another operative, holding a second remote. Rex growled low, torn between instinct and programming. Come here, girl, the man said, clicking the remote again. Rex took one step toward him, then stopped. The man clicked again. Come! She blinked, then leapt. Straight at him. He screamed. The remote flew from his hand. Rex clamped down on his arm, tore him to the ground. Boone rushed in, cuffed the man. Nolan called it in. One down. No sign of Hart. Then they heard it. A scream. Distant. Maddie. Boone's blood ran cold. Ellie, he said. They circled us. He didn't wait. Ran. Rex beside him, limping but fast, back through the woods, back to the house. Smoke drifted up through the trees. They burst through the clearing. The door was open. Inside, Ellie stood, breathless. Blood on her sleeve. He came through the back. Took her. Boone grabbed her shoulders. Where? Ellie pointed to the woods. That way. Toward the quarry. Boone turned to Rex. You ready? She didn't bark. She ran. Through ash and smoke and shattered branches. This time they didn't stop. This time there was no plan. Just one goal. Find Maddie. Bring her home. And finish it. The quarry was silent. Just the wind. A ripple of leaves. And the faint crunch of footsteps over gravel. Boone reached the edge first, rifle raised, eyes scanning the broken terrain below. There, Nolan pointed. North side, the silo. Through the dust and scattered machinery, they saw movement. Cameron Hart, dragging Maddie. The girl fought, kicking, twisting, screaming. Her voice was hoarse but fierce. Let me go! Hart slapped a hand over her mouth and yanked her toward the silo. Boone was already moving. Circle left. Nolan nodded. We cut him off at the ridge. Rex didn't wait. She shot forward, weaving through broken crates and rusted cables. Limber. Quiet. A shadow. Hart didn't see her coming. 1 second, he was halfway up the old metal stairs. The next, a blur of fur slammed into his side. Maddie hit the ground, rolled. Rex locked her jaws into Hart's arm, dragging him backward. He screamed, tried to shake her loose, but she held tight. Boone reached them seconds later, weapon drawn. Get your hands off her! Hart swung wildly. Rex didn't let go. She bit harder. He collapsed, screaming. Boone kicked the knife away, cuffed him to the stair railing. Maddie sat up, coughing. She found me. She came. Boone knelt beside her. You're okay. You're safe. Rex walked to her. Limped, bleeding from a fresh gash on her leg. But her eyes were calm, steady. She pressed her head into Maddie's shoulder. Maddie wrapped both arms around her neck and cried. Later, with Hart in custody and the sun rising, the fire crew arrived. Paramedics checked Maddie, patched Rex. Everyone was alive. The nightmare was over. But the story wasn't. 2 days later, at the fire station, Maddie stood on the steps, clutching a microphone in front of a sea of neighbors, kids, officers, and reporters. Behind her, Rex sat tall, her bandaged paw resting on the edge of the platform. "I didn't think anyone would come," Maddie said. "I thought I was gone." She looked down at Rex. "But she came." Silence. She didn't bark. She didn't make noise. She just knew. Like she could hear my fear. Like she remembered what it felt like. Rex looked up at her. And when no one else found me, she did. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't clap. They stood still. Reverent. Later that evening, as the sun dipped low, the station held out a private moment. Boone, Nolan, Ellie, and Maddie stood with Rex near the old rescue truck. On the wall behind them was a small plaque. Rex, the one who returned. Boone knelt beside her. "You didn't just save a life. You saved a town's heart." Maddie placed something at her feet. A drawing. A little girl holding hands with a German shepherd. The sky above them glowing. "I'll never forget you," she whispered. Rex leaned in, licked her cheek once, then curled up beside the steps, breathing deep, eyes half closed. She wasn't guarding anymore. She was resting. 3 weeks later, the video hit 10 million views. German Shepherd and her puppies. Beg girl for help. Her response leaves everyone in tears. People from all over the world left comments. "She's a hero." "I cried watching this." "German Shepherds really are angels in fur." Veterans wrote in. Families sent photos of adopted dogs named Rex. One little boy from Oklahoma sent a letter. "When I get scared, I think of Rex and feel brave again." And in a small town called Millview, every Saturday, kids stopped by the fire station with drawings, dog biscuits, and stories. Because Rex didn't just protect Maddie. She reminded everyone what loyalty looks like, what heart can do, and what it means to remember. So if you ever wonder if animals can save us, ask Maddie, ask Rex, or better yet, join us. Support your local rescues. Speak up for those who can't. And follow our channel, German Shepherd Stories, where heroes wear collars and every bark means something. Because sometimes the world doesn't need more noise. It just needs one dog who remembers. Thank you, Rex. We'll remember too.